Just excited to have you guys all here today. My name is Brock Zevan, I'm life coach, business coach, real estate agent, and a dad. And on Tuesdays, we're very blessed with the opportunity to have Sandy with us. She has been with us now for quite some time and just excited to hear what she's got going on. She is very passionate about it. She even put in the topic was in capital letters. So I knew when I see capital letters, it's really, really serious stuff that we're going to hear today. So, get your thinking caps ready. Get your pens out ready. Sandy, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing great. So happy Tuesday, everyone. Dee, Claudia, Greg, I see Christian. Glad to see y'all. So yeah, and just for those of you who don't know me, I do tend to talk in caps. I tend to talk in exclamation marks, and that's just my personality. I haven't even had my coffee yet today, and I'm like already ready to run around the block. So that's just how I roll. Oftentimes I'll get asked, are you yelling at me in a text? No, I'm not yelling. I just want to get this across, and I feel the need to put 10 exclamation marks behind everything. So anyways, so what I wanted to talk to y'all about is something that I'm actually 43 years old, and I feel like I'm just getting to these epiphanies in my life. And a lot of it, I think maybe I would have reached sooner had I not been clouded with pharmaceuticals and alcohol. So I think when you take those two things away, you're left with nothing but all that stuff you've put in a box, and now it's here and you're going to deal with it. There is nothing to buffer it anymore, which really allows you to start taking inventory of your life. And I'm telling you, my friends, like that is where it all begins. When you start taking inventory and ownership of what's going on. And we always talk about, I know last time we talked the why. When you take ownership of what's going on in your life, and then you stop for a minute and think, why is that going on? Then you start getting to some dirt. And as far as clouding your judgment, I know that we grew up with parents and what they said, they meant it. And people will say, mean what you say what you mean. You know, there is some truth to that, but I'm also here to say faking it till you making it, it's crap. You're self-sabotaging. You're setting yourself up for failure. This fake it till you make it, act like you own it. You're not fooling anybody. I hate to tell that to you when you go to talk to the professional of whoever you're talking to. And I hope that they're more professional than you and actually know what you're doing, because otherwise I'm not sure how you're going to learn anything trying to learn from somebody at your level or less. They're going to wonder, where's your humility? Where is your integrity? Why can't you just say, hey, I'm new. I'm wanting to try this. What's been your experience? Instead of this fake it till you make it and putting this out there, because what happens is we fail ourselves. Because our confidence gets knocked down the minute we get called out that we don't know something. So now we get quiet. Does that make you want to go back out and do whatever it is you're doing again? No. And that's why we see a lot of people fail businesses that they just start. They get out there and they're faking it till they make it. No. Okay, so that's where I'm like, okay, I need to step back, right? Reevaluate what's going on here. I'm in a whole new career. I know nothing about, I never had a plan to be a landlord and own apartment buildings. Like that was never a dream of mine. I just never saw myself here. I actually thought I retired medical sales. I loved what I did. I was good at it, but I found myself in a situation where I honestly could no longer do my job at the capacity I was used to. So I had to make a career change. Now I could have come into this whole new career, faking it until I made it. And it would have only taken a couple sales calls of me not knowing what a cap rate is or how to do NOI to be busted. So instead, you know what? I've been very transparent from the get-go that I wake up and what I do every day is by choice. And I do it because I have a passion behind what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing, but I know really good people who are doing what I want to do. And I've reached out to them. And that's what Brock did for me. That's what this mindset motivation call did for me. You know, for a long time, I sat behind the scenes. I never turned my camera on because I've always been scared. I don't take photographs. I don't do selfies. I'm not a picture taker. And the coach that I recently hired, he said, who do you think you are that People, I hate to break this to you, look like what you look like on Zoom in real life. When you ask someone, do I really look like that? Yes, you do. I'm going to tell you right now, you do. That's what you look like. Get over it. Put your face on there. It's not going to change. It's what you look like. And honestly, nobody really gives a rip. What they're trying to do is compress time from what you have failed at, what you have learned at, what you've done well with. They're just trying to take some golden gems from you so they don't have to do those mistakes. So for you to sit behind the scenes like I was doing day after day after day, because I didn't want to have my face shown, it wasn't fair. There's so many people out there that I feel like, please don't do what I did. Learn from me. You don't have to do what I did. It took me almost 7 years of misdiagnosis and rheumatoid arthritis and obesity and diabetes and heart disease and high cholesterol. You don't have to do this to yourself. And a lot of it was getting back to the topic of today. Do what you say what you do. When you do that, and when you expect the people in your life to do the same, it goes to a whole new level from saying what you mean and meaning what you say. Now we're actually letting someone show us who they are. What are they capable of? And only then and after they show you is when you give them whatever it is you're wanting to bestow upon them. Give them a partnership. I've been trying to give partnerships away left and right because I want people to want to work with me before I even validate their credentials. And then I'm wondering why the landscape looks crappy because I didn't really get 3 bids. I didn't check to make sure that was the best landscaper. He just told me he was. Well, yeah, I mean, there's a difference between saying what you mean and meaning what you say and actually doing what you say and saying what you do. So not only did he tell me he was professional, he does apartments, this, that, I believed it. But then when I watched it, it showed me something different. So that's what I'm saying, Dee, Claudia, Brock, like, I think it's so important that when we talk to people, we get these really good vibes. And I believe all people have value. Every single person we meet can bring something to the table. It's just where that person's mindset is that you need to understand before you go to the table with them. And their actions will tell you where their mindset is. If it's scarcity, if it's, oh no, I don't know, Christian, you've been working kind of hard. Why don't you take a few days off? No, that's a signal. What they're doing, what they're saying, it's not matching. That's your signal. Okay, we need to cut ties here, because when I talk about those steps, and I know I talk about steps a lot, I myself, like I said, if there's 30 steps, I'm probably around step 11 right now. And I've got so many behind me that are on step 4 and 5. And I literally want to grab them and bring them up to me, but I'm doing them a disservice. That's not fair. And it's not fair to expect them to know what I'm doing at my step and then get frustrated when they don't. So my point is look around your people in your life. Ask yourself, are you doing what you need to do to be where you want to be? Because if you're just saying the words and saying, yep, I'm going to get my workout going, I'm going to do this, but you're not busting it out, you're not getting out of bed at 6 because you're tired, you want to hit snooze, or you just don't feel like it today, that's on you. That's not on how you were raised. That's not on your parents. That's not on your environment. That's not on your friends. It comes back to you, my friend. So look at yourself first before you even start looking and inventorying the people around you. Are you doing what you say and saying what you're doing? And as a parent, I find that it's extremely hard to do that. And I don't always do it. And every day I try to do what I say and say what I do. So if I say, listen, these are the rules. I mean, I put an iPad in the oven before, I'm not going to lie. Like I follow through on my rules. Now I didn't really turn the oven on. She was 6 and she thought I did, but the iPad melted and it was gone. So I'm not saying we all need to go to that extent, but what I'm saying is do what you say and say what you do. When you do that, people know, and let me put this out there too. It's okay to say no. I always wanted to be able to get to everybody. And the reality is you can't do that. So do what you're good at, source out the rest, do what you're passionate about. Maybe you're not good at it yet, but it's your passion. Go find someone who's doing it better than you and reach out, study them. You don't even have to hire them as a coach. They don't have to be your mentor. You can study them. You can do your own Facebook stalking, Instagram stalking. I mean, there's enough technology these days. You can stalk anybody, get their routine of what they do, what books they're reading, who they're coaching with. Do the homework. Because if there's something you want to be, if I want to build apartments and someone comes to me and says, okay, what builders, developers are you talking to? What brokers have you reached out to? And I'm like, I don't know. I just want to do it. I'm not really doing what I say. I'm saying what I do, but am I doing it? So right there, I think is really the key to it. It's just so important. I don't know if anybody has anything they want to add, or if this is like, you know, bringing up any thoughts that you wanted to share in your own life. I'll give it a minute.
Well, I appreciate you this morning, Sandy. I appreciate your energy. And so I'm listening intently, and I want to show you this. It's a little messy. I don't know if you can see this, but so I don't know if you can see this, but Isaac was sick and he wanted to let me know. And he said that, thank you, Daddy, real sick. And I get your point about integrity, but you know what? I didn't have a degree in fatherhood when I became a dad. I didn't. There's books out there, but you know, and I'm not a perfect father. I'm not. I make a lot of mistakes. I mean, this morning, my wife is sick. I get him up this morning. There's some things that I sometimes forget because my wife takes care of these things. And so we're halfway there. And I said to him, I go, do you have your zippered sweater? And he goes, no, Daddy, I don't. So we had to turn all the way around and come back for it. You know, now I didn't have the checklist in front of me. But one thing I will say, as far as, and I get that cliche about fake it till you make it. I get that. I remember when when I got into business, and I was much older, right? This was my color hair when I got into the business. It wasn't like Christian's color or Brock's or anyone else on here who doesn't have this, because this came in when I was young. But it was my first closing, and when I got to I showed up at the closing office, and the brokers who had the property were both older, and the guy looked at me, he was the seller. I mean, there was husband and wife. They were both brokers on the property, and he looked at me and he goes, "Man, you've been in this business for a long time," because he just assumed because I had gray hair that I was older. And this is my first one, and I didn't say, here's my no resume. I just said, let's get to closing and move on. So I think in some ways, you don't have to expose everything that you don't know as you learn in this business, because one thing that's been said before, and as Brock said, when you go to the gas station and you flip that switch, we all start at zero, right? It's like we're not born with a playbook of, you know, ABC. We have to learn in failure. So I do 100% agree that what you say and what you do is very important. But I also know that we have trial and errors, and not everything needs to be laid out for the whole public to see. So that's my
No, you're right. And I'm so glad that you said that, because I want to actually add to the fake it till you make it. There are times we do need to do that. Even when you're new to anything, you need to dress the part and act like you're supposed to be there. You show up without confidence and you're unsure, we've already got a problem from the minute we started. So there is a place and a time to fake it until you make it. Once you make the decision to fake it to make it to whatever that is, that's when you need to start doing the homework of what is it that you need to start doing every day to actually make it. But absolutely, to get your face in front of that doctor for the first time, you walk in that hospital like you own it. But that's okay. So I'm really glad that you said that, because there are times, and every day you kind of fake it till you make it. I have to fake it till I make it sometimes just to leave the house. So we all have our struggles. I think that it's truly what we're doing to overcome those. What actions are we taking? And if you're not taking any actions, it tells me you don't think you're worth it. And that breaks my heart, because every single person on this call, every single person you know is worth it. We are all worth it. You're just not using yourself to your highest potential for some reason. Maybe it's your confidence. Maybe you're scared. Maybe you've been through some trials and tribulations and you're just not feeling up to it. Maybe you're sick. There are steps. I had to go back to the steps, like find the staircase you need to get to and start with step one. It doesn't have to be overwhelming or hard. When I was so sick, I remember my goal for the day was to clean one room in my house. If I could clean one room over the week, I could get most of my rooms cleaned. I mean, now I can bust out my house in like an hour and a half. But at that time, that was a big thing. And that's okay. I think where we really, even myself included, we don't give ourselves grace. We are our own worst critic and we beat ourselves up with this negative self-talk. I remember when I first went back to work in pharmaceuticals after being sick, and I had a really bad stuttering problem. And I guess the point that I'm trying to make here is I faked it till I made it, but then I also had to start taking the steps of how am I going to overcome this? Like, this is what it is. And clearly my customers, they see what it is. So me trying to hide it, it's not going to work. So before you know it, it became an open conversation, and it became a conversation of, oh, complex trauma, PTSD. What is working for you to get past these steps? The fact that I call on psychiatrists for my job for 20 years, and now they're watching me go through something that they give diagnoses on, was very helpful to them. It was helpful for me to share what medications helped my brain slow down enough to get the words out. It was helpful for me to share with them what EMDR, brain processing techniques, are working for me, because that might work for somebody else. Where had I just went in there and pretended I was just having some anxiety and this was just a crummy day, was doing me a disservice and them, because I was getting to my car feeling really embarrassed, thinking they're probably wondering what's wrong with me. I never used to be like this. It's self-sabotage. So that's where I go back to saying, do what you say and say what you do, and think about why you're wanting to do what you do. Make sure it's your passion. Make sure it's what you want to do, and then go all in. No half, yeah, that word. But listen, all in. It's what it's all about. If you're going to do anything, play out, play big. You are playing to win. This is not everybody gets a trophy. And I know I'm that mom too. And I do want everybody to have fun, and I want us all to play together. But at the end of the day, we're here to do something big. All of us, whatever that is. And if you're not doing it, why? Reach out to me. Let's talk. Because I think that there's something that you just need to dig in, and we need to find that. You know, like alcoholics. I don't know if I was an alcoholic or not, but at that time when I was sick, drinking alcohol was, honestly, it was the only relief I had. And when you're dying anyways, and someone's telling you you're abusing alcohol, peace out. Like, I don't really care, and I'm not stopping, to the point that I literally ended up in liver failure. And at that point I thought maybe I am an alcoholic. So I went to AA and I went to the meetings. The reality is, anybody in AA or anybody who's abusing any substance or anything like that, they're using it as a buffer. So once you take that buffer away, that's where the real clarity comes in. And that's where it comes down to doing what you say and saying what you do, because there's nothing there for your excuses to go into that buffer land. Now you're dealing with it. So if you're even asking yourself, you know, I always say this because I've got a lot of friends who are like, God, I need to quit back on drinking. I'm drinking all the time. Do you think I drink too much? And I remember when I was sitting in an AA meeting, they said, if you're even asking yourself, if you have a problem, or you're putting that out there, you have a problem. Because that's not why we drink. That's not why we get high, whatever it is. If you're doing that, stop for a minute, stop, just please stop and have a conversation with yourself. Where do you want to be in a year from now? Where do you want to be in 5? Is that where you want to be because you're passionate, or because you think you have to check a box to get there? Because my news to you is nobody really cares what you do. I felt like this whole time in my life, I've had this person to impress. At the end of the day, if I can just get up and make it till bedtime, that's a freaking miracle. Like, I'm happy with that. My mom's happy with that. My daughter's happy with that. These expectations that we're putting on ourselves that we have to do this certain thing or waiting for happiness. You're going to get there when you finally get that check, then you'll feel better. It doesn't work like that. When you get that check, your house is going to have a problem that's going to cost about as much as that check. It's just how life works. So we've got to get in the moment and start doing what we say and saying what we do. And the people around us, they are not doing it. And it's really sad because they're going to be your friends. They're going to be the people that you're around. But if they're not doing what they're saying, you need to distance yourself. You need to be around people who are literally doing what they're saying and are on a path that you want to go. If something or someone is not bringing you value, it's okay to leave them. I used to think they had to be toxic to me to leave them. No, nobody has to be toxic or hurtful or abusive to you for you to be okay with leaving them. If they're not bringing any type of value and it's not a reciprocal relationship, it's okay to leave it. Because there's someone else on the other side waiting for you who can offer you that, that's looking for you. So let them find their person, because you're not only doing yourself a disservice, you're doing that person a disservice. So I hope that makes sense to everybody. I hope that we all start thinking about what we're saying, doing what we're saying. And if we're not, we're asking ourselves why, and maybe doing a checkup from the neck up, as my old boss used to say. But yeah, I just think live with integrity. Have a great, awesome day. And thanks for listening to me this morning. Brock, I'll turn it back over to you.
Well, thank you, Sandy. I definitely appreciate that. That was Patty. Thank you so much for sharing. Guys, you know, give her some hearts, give her some loves. When people pour out on this, I want to just say, like, you know, when guest speakers come on Fridays, when these guys are speaking today, there's trigger points in their past lives that echo when they're saying this. So please feel free to share what you thought about that. Give us the hearts, give us the thumbs. If there's something that we can do better, something that she said that marinated inside of you or triggered something, reach out to her, have her help you, because we all go through challenges in life. And I'm in there's two words. And when I say this letter, everybody's gonna be like, whoa, Brock, this is not profanity time. But what I've learned is this: there's two F words. Okay, there's two F words that make people stay in their comfortable zone and not go to the dark, scary, cold, uncomfortable zone. So I'm going to ask you right now, in either Zoom world or Facebook world, to write down what you think one or two of the F words are of where 96%, I would even say 99% of people are scared to go into the uncomfortable zone. So right now, put it on the chat, put it in the comments. What do you think the two F words are that make people stay stagnant, to make people not move forward? Who has some ideas? Now, unless your computer's frozen, unless my computer's frozen. Okay, fear, failure, fear. Even though Sherry said deer, I know she means fear. Patty says fear. Pamela says fear and failure. You guys must have heard this one before. Nicole says fear. Fudge, no fudge or freezer. Those two are not the right answers. Yeah, I mean, so here's the thing. Isn't this funny? You know the answers. You know it's fear. And you know it's failure, yet you say frozen. So I guess the freezer part of it is correct, Christian, that you stay frozen in your position because you're scared of your fear of the failure of what you're going to do. I remember when I was young, I never wanted to ask girls out because I was scared they were gonna reject me, and so I never would ask them out. And I remember even my friends, Brock, she likes you. I remember her name was Jennifer Kislick. And maybe one day she might listen to this and she might hear, but Jennifer Kislick, and she was a cheerleader and she was like 4 lockers down from me. Yeah, that's when we used to have lockers, and I would get my combination and I would have to study it many times because I would forget the numbers. Go figure. I should have known I had problems then. And I would try to like get the combination. And then she would come to her locker and they would tell me she likes me. but I still never asked her because the fear of rejection, the fear of failure outweighed anything else. And honestly, not to go in a little pity party mood, but I only went to one prom my entire high school. I didn't go to like whatever like when the girl asks the guy. I never went to like the homecoming. Like I never did any of that stuff because I was just always the fear of failure took place over me of being rejected by a female. And so whatever happens inside of your life at some point, I mean, obviously I got married, so I overcame it at some point. But until you decide to face it, when we talk about running, you're either running towards something or away from something. And only you get to decide. So Sandy, I thought your message today was spot on what people face. And you need to like learn from it, guys. You got to look at your fear and face it and stop worrying about failure. I talked to my two VAs that I hired. And I'd share with you guys what my interview question was. Are you scared? Are you okay to fail? If you are hiring somebody, if you are going in that process, you need to ask them that question. Are you okay to fail? And then what I want you to do is I want you to find your nearest mirror and I want you to ask that interview question to yourself. Are you okay to fail? Because if you're not, then be okay with mediocrity. Be okay being stagnant. Be okay being in the position you are, because in order to get over that hump that Sandy said, in order to do it, you will have to fail. It's just the way life is. And I wish there was an easier roadmap. But to be honest with you, I'm glad there isn't, because I would have to work 4 times harder to overcome if everybody was okay to fail. Then I'd be like, all right, now what do I have to do to try to become winning? What does that look like? I don't know. It probably has pain attached to it, like most things do, but you have to have a tolerance. So Sandy, great job. Great message today. For those that enjoyed it, make sure you give us a thumbs up, give us a heart. I appreciate you guys that come on here throughout the week and share and talk about this type of stuff, because you're helping somebody today. I mean, we all know, I mean, I'm looking down the list here of who all wrote down fear and failure. So what are you going to do about it today? What are you going to do about it today at a 1% level? Because remember, if you just work on yourself 1%, at the end of the year, you'll have a 365% growth. I mean, it's doable. Okay. It's all doable if you look at it with the right perspective and face that failure. It's going to be okay. I promise you. Guys, thank you so much. Sandy, thank you for sharing. Appreciate you guys being on here today. Happy Tuesday to you. Tomorrow we'll be here with Greg, 8:15. Join us. And if you guys need anything from us, let us know. And just to let you know, you will be all seeing very shortly here on Tuesday. It's coming to you. Holiday handlers. I'm doing a webinar on the holiday handlers on how to, because guys, I told you I got to get 7 listings. Okay. I already know they're going to, Brock, I don't want to sell during the holidays. Okay. Don't worry about that. I got that taken care of. 13 reasons why they need to sell during the holidays, why they need to, how you can overcome their objections. So the holiday handlers, be ready, put it on your calendar. Tuesday at 1 o'clock. I'll be having the link out here very shortly. We're going to be doing a free session. So come join us next Tuesday if you want to hear about all the holiday handlers out there. Guys, have a great day today. Make it worthwhile. We'll see you later. Bye.